Let's dig into our first best of 5 for this wonderful event. Spawning in the bottom left is our Red Terran player playing for Team GP. This is RYUNG. And in the top right, his opponent, the blue Zerg player for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Dark. So statistics right here overwhelmingly support the blue Zerg in his quest for domination in this best of 5. I think it's like, what was it? It's like roughly a 50% chance that Dark goes 3-0 in this matchup. RYUNG's got some pretty crafty builds, though. I think that could be the sword and stone here for our Red Terran player. Some quick timings, maybe catching his opponent off guard. That could potentially lead to some, surprising victories here for RYUNG. But Dark's a very difficult person to try and pull the wool over. I mean, Dark is also the captain of all kinds of cheeky play and just a relatively, just strong timings in general. Dark is going to open up 6 lings. This is something that as an American player, I see 6 lings, and I always default in my brain to, wow, he's playing super safe here. Can't afford to lose anything. And I mean, these are going to dance back and forth here. Reaper shouldn't be able to take anything at this point. Just impeccable micro here. Buys just a little bit of time for the queen. But as an American Zerg, I always think that 6, he's playing super safe here, but this is something that's pretty common in the Korean Zerg opening meta. Yo, what's up, M. Canning? Big fat raid. Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you here today. My name is Rushi. Can't believe M. Canning's even awake at this point. My God. You guys are joining in into the ITaX Super Series number 91. We just got started. This could be a best of 5 between Dark and RYUNG. Pretty standard opening here so far. Dark getting out to his 3rd base. We are starting to unfold. Starport is kind of towards the back of RYUNG's base right now. It's not completely out of position, but this Marine on patrol does give me a little bit of room for pause. It's not going to be incredibly cheeky here, though. Command center on the high ground is going to elude that this game should continue to drag out. But the reality of the situation is we do have a macro game boiling up here. Or at bare minimum, we've got ourselves some interesting mid-game timings going. Not a lot tech-wise for the Zerg player either. It's been largely just those few Zerglings right at the very, very beginning of his setup here, getting into that 3rd base. We are now going to start seeing the Hellions and the Reaper doing a little bit of recon, but honestly, not a whole lot's been picked up here. There's not a lot of information for either player at this point, but it seems as if game number 1 here is going to be largely just a pretty standard shot at both players. Okay, RYUNG's going to try and dive on in here, get a little bit extra. Does grab a creep tumor for his trouble, but not really a whole lot happening here. His 3rd base does still remain up in the main base, but I think that is going to be rapidly changing here in a moment. We are getting 2 engineering bays down in the natural as well. So we will start seeing that additional barracks production. We are going to get bio out of the Terran player right now as RYUNG works to limit the creep spread of his opponent. No 4th base so far here for Dark, so this is going to lead into maybe some bigger production here as Dark is still working to get more of that creep spread pushed forward here. He does have a Baneling Nest on the way. Lair is about halfway done as well, and we'll be picking up an Evolution Chamber So I would imagine that, I mean, this would lead me to believe that this is going to be a bit more economical approach here for the Zerg player, but not seeing a whole lot just yet. Really good positioning here with these queens, trying to keep the Hellions out of the way. But RYUNG, he's stopped worker production, or he's slowed down on his worker production here. Now he is getting up into the 50s, but it's taken him a little bit to get to this point, especially with that third orbital command on the field so fast here. We are getting a macro hatch up at the top, and there goes the 4th base as well. So what has the Liberator had a chance to see here yet? Nothing. This has been the most safe opening for both players in this game number 1. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I think it is going to be an overwhelming swarm of Lings and Banes here. We are getting Glier Reconstitution, or not Glier Reconstitution, excuse me, Centrifugal Hooks. Baneling speed for the Zerg player. I mean, this has been just very safe. RYUNG doing a really nice job of keeping this creep spread at bay, especially in the center of the map. Dark has been trying to push this up on the high side, and it has been kind of squashed for the most part. Burrow's going to be coming down. Really? All right. Well, nothing wrong with that. 1-1 just now finishing up here for RYUNG. These bio units are going to have a little bit of punch to them. We are getting that 4th base produced out at the natural. Both players really taking it slow today. I mean, we're not really seeing a whole lot outside of just Lings and Banes here for Dark. Yeah, I'm going to try and dive up into the main base. I don't think that's quite the right call here at this point. Really nice coverage. More scans out in the center of the map as RYUNG is working away at this creep. Oh, a couple of creep tumors here out in the center. That's going to allow Dark to continue pushing things forward. And, I mean, that creep is really starting to get rapidly close to RYUNG's base. We are going to get some Dropper Lords with Banelings inside of them. Oh, man, this is about to get spicy here. I think he does have Observer. Yeah, he does have Overlord speed. Holy cow, I got to get my brain set here. It is still early and cold. Good Baneling connections right up the gut of this Bioforce here as it pushes on forward into the creep. This is a rather exposed army here. There is a nice amount of Hellbats here to try and soak up some of these Zerglings, and there aren't that many Banelings as a part of this army because most of the Banelings are caught up in these Overlords that are kind of going in a couple of different directions here. But I think with the Queen support, this is going to be enough to hold this base up. We're going to have to keep an eye on that hatchery to see if it's allowed to continue producing. But it's just a continued amount of bio production here. 2-2 is just about done for RYUNG. It's about 3/4 of the way there. And RYUNG is going to be posturing up here on the top side. Nice little surround here. This is going to be off creep, so it's a little bit better here for RYUNG, but just an overwhelming amount of Zerg. But here comes the Banes. Is he going to be able to react to this in time? He is. I think looking at it, he does get a decent pull here. Overlord doesn't drop anything, but 11 units have already been picked up. Where did those go? It went to the 3rd base instead. Dark is going to try and get a nice little surround here. Good Baneling coverage on the top side. Is not going to pick up the Marines, but it will take off more workers. 24 workers in total. RYUNG has lost so much back at home that he's having such a difficult time really making anything happen on the opposite side of the map. And there go more Hellbats. There go more Banelings. This base is now under attack. A couple of Banelings actually burrowed at the 3rd base, trying to get some of those Baneling bombs to connect. And this is now Dark just being able to flex the fact that he's got 76 workers. He's got infinitely more production cycles available to him than his opponent. By no means is this completely down and out, but RYUNG would have to fight a long way to make this happen. And Dark, with a superior army count, is going to be able to make this work. 65-40. Is the army, is the supply count, but I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it here. 10 more workers go down, 76-35. ends up being the final amount. We do have ultras on the field. Yeah, this is going to be a nice little transition here for Dark. I think RYUNG is going to have to tap out here shortly, but he does have a sizable amount. If there was ever a moment he was going to push to win, this would be it. I mean, he has to win with this army. 83 to 35 is the worker count. If we look at the units lost tab, this has been a rather efficient game here for Dark, not really giving up a whole lot more than his opponent. Utilizing that burrow effectively. Here come the ultras. Nice little Baneling surround on the backside of that as well. RYUNG just barely hanging on to triple supply. Is this orbital command going to burn down? I think this is going to burn. It's amazing. I mean, Dark is making the most out of this very, very hyper-efficient army. There's not a lot here, but it also is apparent that there's not a lot for RYUNG to really fight with. Yeah, the numbers favor the Terran player, but the reality is the army of Dark is just going to be a little bit stronger. They are even on 2/2 upgrades, +3 Carapace and +3 melee on the way. It's not even started here for RYUNG. These mines need to get incredible shots, but immediately going to target down the Ultra. That will get some decent damage, but it's not going to provide exactly what is needed. A lot of those units do get caught in the corner. Nice little transfuses there on the Queen. Liberators added into the mix here for RYUNG. That will be incredibly helpful, at least offering a little bit of position for the Terran play to try and fight into. But now the army supplies have evened up. The Queen's going to be brought into the fight to deal with the air units of RYUNG, and that is just going to be too much to hold down, as the Queens will take a little bit of damage, but ultimately end up winning this Bioforce. Just not quite enough. GG is called, and Dark. Pretty solid game number 1 between these two players. All right, we're here on Waterfall. A little bit smaller map. Top right-hand corner, it's our blue Zerg player, Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Dark. And in the bottom left, his opponent, the red Terran player for Team GP. This is RYUNG. So I'm actually a little surprised here that we did not see any quick shenanigans out of RYUNG here. A bit of a surprise, if you will. So I think that RYUNG trying to play straight up against Dark it's admirable, but I don't think it's going to elicit the results that RYUNG's going to be looking for here. Dark is just way too solid in his ZVT to be overwhelmed by mere macro. I think it's going to come down to some tight timings and possibly a moment where RYUNG could just overwhelm. But again, that's still going to be a very difficult task. So I'll be interested to see where RYUNG goes in game number 2. This map's got a little bit more opportunity for Liberator play. I also don't hate this map for Banshees as well. Ooh, okay. All right. This is a step in the right direction here. Going to pick up the second barracks. A little bit of 2-1-1 action. This is going to be, I think, more up the alley of RYUNG here. A better opportunity to create some early game pressure, because Dark is going to open up stock standard. He is going to pick up his third base. It is going to be largely drone production. I mean, at this point, he even completely cuts. Oh, actually, okay. Okay, so this is actually very interesting here. So Dark is not even gone for the opening Zerglings. There are no Zerglings on this map. It is just drone and Queen production. So that gives us some indication here. Dark's already going to anticipate that RYUNG is going maybe something a little bit out of the standard here. He's going to pick up 3 barracks, so this is just going to be 3 barracks play. I didn't think we would have seen something like this until Beyond, potentially, but now we are going to get RYUNG with some quick marine pressure here. And I would say that despite the fact that RYUNG will deny the scout, heavy air quotes on the deny here, just the fact that there are multiple marines out on the main base, plus the fact that RYUNG is now out on the map with a sizable amount of marines, this is going to be something that's a bit more out of the ordinary here. But it is going to be some of that early game pressure that we were kind of discussing, right? Okay, we do finally have Zerglings out on the map. Zergling speed about halfway done. And just a sizable amount of queens here. 3 more queens. Should be 5 in total once those are all completed. Oh, no, he's got plenty already. So he's going to have 8 in total. So Dark's going to try and defend this with Queen Ling. I mean, it's possible that he could put down the Baneling Nest, but if he's going to do it, he's got to do it right here, right now. Because Combat Shield is already in production. Stim Pack over halfway done. The first factory finally hitting the field here, but this is going to be an attack that winds up here very, very shortly. Sizable amount of Marines so far. It's 16 in total, with 3 producing at a time. I don't know if this waits for medevac support. I think if you do, I think that is a bit too long. Here now, finally, the Baneling Nest goes down. This might just almost be perfectly timed to have Banelings ready for this push. A couple more supply depots, if anything, trying to complete the wall, but it does give him a little bit more valuable support. Yeah, Dark knows exactly what's happening here. Going out with the Lings, wanting to find out what's going on at that 3rd base location. He is going to see that there is, in fact, no 3rd to speak of, and he actually thought about getting aggressive himself. That's impressive. Yeah, okay, Baneling Nest is complete. Okay, Bane's finally going to be morphing out, but they are morphing a bit far forward here. I think he's got to be careful here. Those Banelings could be ripe for the picking. Oh, I mean, RYUNG had an opportunity here, but you burn such a precious Stim Pack if you take advantage of it here. Oh, there's just way too many Zerglings here. I don't even think you need the Banelings at this point. All these Marines are going to get caught out. Oh, this is just a slaughter. Not a single Baneling used in that. And now, all of a sudden, RYUNG, who was the aggressor, is now RYUNG the defender. Just enough Banelings to break down the wall, but not enough really to get in and deal with the siege tank. And without Baneling speed, it would have been a bit of a folly to jump on in. So I think that's the right choice here for Dark, as he is going to back off. He's going to get away with most of his units. I mean, if we even look at the units lost tab, this is an incredibly effective defense here for Dark, who is now on 3 bases. There is no 2nd base as a follow-up here for RYUNG. So, I mean, RYUNG has to stay on top of this, but he's already behind on the army count. He is behind on workers, only by a little bit, though. Surprisingly close, given everything that we've seen here so far. Income advantage, though, tells a little bit of a tale. The graph looks big, but look at the numbers. 450. It's not very far apart. So very good play here on both sides, but RYUNG has to find a way to make something happen here. He does have his +1 finished. He is getting his +1 infantry armor. Queens are caught a little bit exposed here, but they are still on creep and will be able to stutter step backwards. Good little transfuse there to keep one of the queens alive. Couple of tanks here to provide some coverage, and Dark is cycling around the map. He actually just decides that maybe he just wants to go up the ramp here at the main base of RYUNG, thinking that there's going to be just enough here to deal with this aggression, but tanks being lifted into a nice position here. This is a great start here for RYUNG. That is going to force Dark to actually respond to this attack here. These units are not really moving right now. Oh, mean, Dark really does not want to give up the space here. He is going to lose a queen. He's got both of his evolution chambers here at that third base location. This hatchery goes down. These are going to become incredibly exposed here. Dark can't afford to lose these upgrades. That could actually push him back here. Has RYUNG done it? Has he found the angle to work this out? It is going to be a couple of seconds here before melee attack is completed. Using those transfuses, RYUNG knows he has got Dark in a tough spot right now. He just needs 10 seconds to hold on to this upgrade. Does he have enough to make it happen? 2, 1. 1-1 is allowed to complete, and that's going to be a huge pushing moment here for Dark, as now he's going to be able to overwhelm his opponent with a slight upgrade advantage. But he does lose out on the base, but I think holding off to get just enough time to finish those upgrades was exactly what Dark needed. But right now, I mean, RYUNG has a really solid army here, 96 to 67. This is a much better situation here for the Red Terran player, who last game just did not have the production behind him to make this work. Suddenly now looking a little bit more strong. Reinforcements getting picked off here by Dark, but Dark needs to be able to find a way to deal with this on the top side of the map. Losing one of the medevacs, though, is a great way to go. He just targets them both down and does lose a queen for his trouble, but getting 2 of those medevacs off the head, very, very good start to this engagement. But RYUNG is not quite done just yet. I mean, there are units here to try and grab those tanks, but the tanks are in such a precarious position, it makes it very difficult for Dark to really deal with this. But now we'll be able to try and fight on both different angles. The queens are basically just fighting the bio all by themselves. Finally, Zergling's able to come in and grab some additional help, but picking up all the tanks was a huge win here for Dark. At least RYUNG now is going to be forced to be a little bit more forward with this tank if he wants to try and keep this pressure on. But the reality is 1 tank is not quite the army that you want it to be if you are the Terran player. Bailing's going to get targeted down by the 1 tank, and they are still trying to find that bio force. The queens have just been an overwhelming supportive part of this defense here for Dark, as the supplies have relatively evened out here. Units lost tab is looking a little fresh here for the Terran player, who now is going to be able to start harassing so many of these overlords here. There's a lot of supply just sitting in this overlord pack right now. Tanks trying to get sieged up here to deal with these banelings that are running on in, but Dark just gets a better position on his opponent. This is such a back and forth game here. RYUNG is a much stronger position, but does he have enough to hang on here? The army supplies are almost dead even, as RYUNG is going to be forced backwards. Once again, his third base just now coming out. So RYUNG does have a path forward for the future, but does it include the 4 base position that Dark is already in? What an incredibly back and forth game. RYUNG has so much gas. He has so much gas and no way to spend it. His mineral count is just incredibly low right now. That income advantage has still stayed relatively close here. 900 is the highest difference between these two. It just continues to be Marine tank. I mean, not even adding Marauders into the mix, but I mean, outside of that, there just hasn't been a whole lot to even talk about in Dark's army. This has just been an incredible show of just Ling Bane. There is a roach warrant out. I don't know if he has any roaches. Nope. Nope, just reserving the right to make that switch if he needs to. Whew. I mean, that got exciting there. So now Dark trying to continue his economic advantage here. RYUNG getting into a secured third base location. Really doesn't need to pick up this gas just yet. He's sitting with such a strong gas bank. But a few tanks and liberators can really make that eat away. In fact, it looks like he's been pulling workers off. Yeah. So RYUNG even still has options with his gas. I mean, it's a smart choice, honestly. He is down on workers, though. 66 to 49. He's cut so much economy production. We do have +2 melee on the way. Dark rebuilding one of those evolution chambers. And now we are going to start seeing a tech forward here. It's going to be Infestation Pit. Big Ling surround here. These queens have just been incredibly strong. Good coverage. Oh, this is going to be something that I think he has to deal with. The Army of Dark here, just really overwhelming RYUNG's reinforcement. Oh, he had so much potential there for that siege tank. I think he could have sacrificed that. Oh, are those Banes? Those are Banes! Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Trying to bait this army forward with the Ravager shots. I really don't want to leave that. I gotta keep an eye on those Banelings. The Baneling bust here. Holy cow. Yeah, because that's the alley that RYUNG really wants to go up, and Dark is trying to bait him into it as well. Picking off those tanks. I really like those Ravagers just to help deal with the tanks. It's fourth base here for RYUNG on the left-hand side of the map. Providing a little extra support, but really puts him close to his opponent. And I'm not quite sure that that's exactly what RYUNG wants to deal with here at this point in the game. I'm a bit surprised that he didn't go to the right-hand side of the map. So we do have Hive in production here. It's about 3/4 of the way done. Both players kind of stabilizing just a little bit. Dark does have a sizable bank here working on getting some additional setup. The upgrades are going to become a huge factor here. Oh, this is just an overwhelming force here. RYUNG does not have the position. His base is open. More tanks being picked away at. The third base being rolled into. Oh, workers are now starting to fall. GG is called. Dark just overwhelms his opponent. Just pushes forward. RYUNG is now down 0-2. Okay. I mean, I liked RYUNG's build in game number 2. I think RYUNG was actually like precariously close to being able to just like push Dark over the edge. I think had the tank pressure remained high, I think it would have just been enough. Would have just been enough to knock Dark out. But Darkwood is doing a really nice job with his queen coverage just to keep things back and away. Keeping the tanks off to the right-hand side was still like annoying to deal with, but it did not hurt his rally over kind of at his natural ramp. And positionally, I mean, that's where a lot of things kind of unfold a little bit. So we got Dark this time around with the Zerglings. Ooh, he actually loses. He's going to lose 2 of the Zerglings? Holy cow. Streeper's going to go home and talk about the glories. Dear Diary, today I defeated 2 of Dark's Zerglings. Wow, I hear Mengst is gonna make me into a captain. It's pretty crazy. We're gonna get a more standard opening this time around. Back into early 3rd CC. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna complain. I just don't know if that's going to be what RYUNG needs. I really hope that there's still a mid-game timing behind this. So I think that's where RYUNG will shine. I like introducing at the beginning of all of the games. Mostly because I never know who wanders in midway through. And might look at it and go, wait a minute, I wonder who the players are. I can't look at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen because my cat is there. You never want to rule out the people with their cats. Cat people are StarCraft people too. Ooh, okay. Got a tech lab here. Wonder if we'll pick up a Banshee cloak. We will. Outstanding. Now this isn't quite dedicated pressure. This is going to be nice harassment, though, that Dark will have to deal with. And depending on how he protects against this, Dark could possibly have a bit of a time dealing with this, because right now, no lair production. We don't currently have any spores. We have 1 spore. 2 spores. Oh, this is delightful. I'm actually really happy about that. Dark's just always on it, man. Does he even have vision of it? He does. What a guy. He got in there just far enough. Dark's always on it, man. So, Dark's got a good idea of what's happening here. He's just going to drone behind it. That's a smart choice. Lair on the way as well. So I think this is an opportunity for RYUNG to really ramp up the pressure here. If he just allows Dark to continue droning blindly behind this, well, not blindly, but just freely drone, that's going to be something that he's not going to be able to punish. Double engineering bay will be coming in as well. 2 Banshees is still a lot to deal with, even if there is pretty decent spore coverage. 1 in each base. 4th base on the way as well. This is very, very good. Very good positioning, very good timing. All the way through. Wants to try and work away at the spore crawler? That's interesting. I suppose using the high ground to his advantage could be useful, but creep tumors are still there as well. So a few drones do end up going down, 3 in total. The Banshees are kind of battered, though. I think 4 is not quite enough. That creep spread, though. Holy cow. How many queens does Dark have? Dark has 9 queens. All right. So be it. This is how we all need to play Zerg, folks. Make sure you're taking notes. A second macro hatch going down. He doesn't have any intention on building tech in these games, does he? Well, queens are going to continue rotating around the map, not only pushing a creep, but just protecting against these aggressive forward units. Banshee's not really finding a whole lot of damage here. I mean, what have they gotten in total so far? 2 and 2? I mean, 2 apiece with no Banshee deaths. It's not inherently bad. But Dark's going to be able to start taking off here. His worker count is much higher than his opponent, 78 to 63. RYUNG has an overwhelming advantage on the army, but he's got to be able to find a way to utilize it. Otherwise, it's just an investment into workers that he didn't take. I do like this. Healing up those Hellions by turning them into Hellbats and then being able to use the Medivacs. It's clever. Creep should cost 1 supply. It's a bold take, my friend. It's an overwhelming amount of units here. Ling's able to get a decent amount done. 1 siege tank is going to be able to help defend, but it's not going to be enough to quite push on its own. 2nd tank is going to come in as reinforcements. Dark's going to go for it again. He wants the follow-up Dropper Lord play. He's 1-1 just now finishing up. Should be able to start working its way into a better position, but there's nothing here at home. And that's actually an underwhelming amount of reinforcements here. So this base is going to be sacrificed. Sure, that's fine and all, but really the focus needs to be at his natural, which right now has been protected so far. So that base is going to go down, but I think Dark is going to be more than fine to give that one up. He does have a requisite base on the bottom right. Banshees are going to continue finding additional damage here. Hey, they are getting up in kills, 7 and 6 respectively. Oh, I keep missing these Baneling drops. What the heck? Okay, don't worry. We got more. We got more on the way. 6 workers do end up going down. We're going to get one of them. Ultra Den is on the way. Hive has already been completed. 2-2 is about 3/4 of the way done for RYUNG. So that is actually going to be a sizable advantage here that RYUNG can play with. This Bioforce is still relatively scary. The army supplies have closed it in a gap, 125 to 102. Dark still has a lot of that he has to work with here. Ooh, okay. Instead of a Baneling drop, he's just going to get a little Zergling drop. I can respect that. Okay, I see the Baneling Dropper Lord going in here. Waiting for its opportunity to strike. Oh, it's just going to go everywhere. Ling's going to come on in. Oh! Oh, we got one. We got him, boys. 8 workers off the head. These, huh? Oh, they're burrowed. I'm like, where'd the workers go? So it did come at the cost of another base once again here in the lower right-hand corner. But again, I think Dark is okay with giving up some of these outer extended bases, especially since he's able to replace them rather quickly. And then it does force RYUNG to continue fighting on creep, which is going to be a much better situation here. Oh, some Baneling landmines. Going to grab some of this army reinforcement. That ends up being about as best as it possibly could be. You got a +1 mech as well. Tank's going to be a little bit more helpful here. There's a lot of fighting happening on multiple different angles here. Dark's having a difficult time really juggling all of it. He is going to be able to roll into that third base location and just overwhelm his opponent. Oh, this is a lot of damage here to his economy. 10 more workers have gone down. RYUNG getting a little bit of worker damage response as well, picking up 6 workers, but the supply is starting to plummet here for the Red Terran player. He's on the verge of elimination. Ultra going to be added into the mix as well. Not quite enough to deal with this, but there just is so much Dark on the map. He's not able to really stabilize here. Now finally the tanks are going to get pushed away. The Queen getting burrowed as well. GG is called. RYUNG has to tap out, and Dark 3-0s his opponent, moves on to the grand finals of our Super Series number 91 today.